Today we're going to talk a bit about governance, a topic which has different reactions depending on where you sit. But fortunately today we have a panel which incorporates both public and private backgrounds. So you can, I think the mixture is necessary for us to get a grip on exactly what are we doing to preserve the public goods, even as our technology develops by leaps and bounds. So privacy versus security, issues around algorithmic bias, accountability, autonomy, and how our systems can hold up under that. It's a brave, brave new world. And last but by no means least, Shaz Umer. Shaz is from the United States Department of Transport, where he is he's essentially the transport policy leader, though I don't think he would want me to say that. So, he's the Director of Strategic Initiatives for Secretary of Transport's Office of Research and Technology, covering everything, pretty much, from AV preemption to low-altitude economy. The list goes on, and I think in that context, he's very much responsible for shaping the next generation of mobility for what is the largest economy on the planet. Shaz, now your scope is broad but also deep. And speaking as someone who spends a lot of time in Los Angeles, please, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel here. What is one policy change that could accelerate the responsible deployment of this kind of technology for good?
Well, thank you for having me here. You know, first and foremost, at the U.S. Department of Transportation, the priorities are clear. Safety first, innovation always. I come to work every single day trying to figure out how do we save lives through innovative transformation. And Lolo, this is an exciting year. You know, President Trump has announced that this is the golden age of transportation. This was announced in the Secretary's innovation agenda on April 24th, talking about the autonomous vehicle framework. Now, in the United States, as you know, right, Los Angeles is one city in one state of 50 states. But what we're seeing is each state, from California to Texas to Washington to Florida, they all have their own patchwork of different AV policies. And I think this is a great opportunity for the federal government to look at this and really create what's called preemption, where we come up with one policy to preempt state authority to make sure that when you have a vehicle in one state and it transfers to another state, it's the same exact policy, that the safety case is the same. The one way we're thinking about doing this is through what's called a minimum risk condition. So when we look at edge cases, for example, like a disengagement of an AV, what does that latency look like? What is a minimum risk for us to set that policy so it can allow this for every AVs to deploy? Because one of the challenges we're seeing is, especially in America, is scale. And we want to make sure that AV companies are not burdened by a patchwork of different policies. One way we looked at this earlier this year, I put together a request for information to the public. We received a lot of responses, and what the RFI told us is that they needed the federal government to step in, is that this was a big challenge from academia, from L4 companies, from universities, from the public, is that you need this sort of federal preemption, and this is how we're going to be able to move forward with the country. So whether you're in Los Angeles or whether you're in Miami, that policy will remain the same, and that's what we're working on right now.
Wonderful. I mean, you expressed it so crisply. States are the laboratories of democracy, but we need to have the democracy. We need to have the principle, the preemption, the by right, if you will. And now we just have to tackle the transmission grid, so that'll be great. One last, I mean, I know I'm out of time here, but one word, what's on your mind in one word for the deployment of technology? And Shaz, you got the last word.
Safety.
Literally. Safety.
But I do want to say this. You know, innovation is not the problem. Uncertainty is, and that's what we're fighting against.
Wonderful.